Hey folks, it's Rob Flux here with another Real Deal in the Field on a beautiful sunny day here in Melbourne. As we can see, overcast. It is about to bucket down rain, but I'm here with Edo and also Luke. So Luke is actually the builder on this project and Edo is the developer. So welcome, mate. We're going to have a look at your project. So firstly, tell us a little bit about what is the project and where is the project?
This project is in Melbourne. The suburb is called Mulgrave. It's in the city of Monash. So about 21 kilometers southeast of Melbourne CBD.
Very good. And this is technically your second project, but it's actually the furthest progressed along because the first project that you had in the same council actually got trapped, didn't it?
Yes, it did. We literally launched our application to the VCAT today. We got knocked back with a similar build, side-by-side duplex or townhouse, we call it here in Melbourne. So the VCAT applications is officially launched today.
Okay, so I guess what we're trying to get to here, folks, is same council, same application, side-by-side duplex. In one area, they were a little bit resistant in actually doing it, but this one, I'll say went straight through, but it was a 10-month delay in actually getting approval, folks. So that can add quite a bit to your holding costs. So, but looking at your numbers, mate, the numbers are looking fantastic on it.
Yes, the market helped us a little bit as well.
Yep, but also I guess the construction, obviously all the same sorts of construction problems that we're having, I guess across the board with rising construction costs and that sort of thing, and we can talk to Luke a little bit about that. What we might do, folks, is we might go inside, get out of the weather, because I think it's going to rain any second. We'll go inside and we'll talk to Luke about some of the challenges that actually happened during the build project, and some of the other things that we, I guess, encountered along the way and solved, which are all the problems that you need to solve on your journey too. So we'll see you in a sec, folks. Okay, rightio, here we are inside, out of the weather, and it's about to bucket down any minute. So if the noise kicks in, folks, so apologies for the echo and that sort of thing, but we're going to have a chat to Luke, I guess, who's the builder on this particular project, about some of the issues and challenges along the way. But more interestingly, Luke, you started out as the builder in this particular project, but now the two of you have actually formed an alliance for your future projects. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's been an interesting journey for both of us. I mean, we met at a property seminar a number of years ago, and then we've discussed about this particular project. So, at the end of the day, we thought in the future it might be a good opportunity for us to partner together to do more projects and get a sort of a win-win situation going.
Absolutely. So really good outcomes. Now we're going to talk about some of the issues and challenges. So firstly, along the way, a whole bunch of shortages on materials and that sort of thing. One of those being timber.
That's correct.
So what did you have to do to try and get around the shortage of timber along the way, mate?
Yeah, shortage of timber, that sort of plagued the industry for a number of years. So we were fortunate enough to pivot very, very quickly in terms of going into a substitute product, which is light gauge steel. I mean, it's something that we haven't really tried in the past, but obviously, with this being one of the many builds that we've had in the past, going through to the light gauge steel path, we've certainly learned a lot along the way. Yeah, and some of those things that you have to learn along the way is that you have to get all the building, re-engineered because I guess the walls are prefabricated. That's right. That's right. In a factory, so they turn up already assembled, and you just kind of like Absolutely.
Lego and put them together, which means you have to actually engineer them. You're not actually hammering them in on spot. So how much of a delay did that add to the process?
I think that added, I would say, at least a couple of months worth of delays.
Yep.
In terms of, because not just having to make sure the quality process or QA process is done right, but also all the measurements and all the dimensions has to be spot on before it is shipped to site.
Absolutely. So if you're thinking about using some alternative construction methodologies and that sort of thing, folks, make sure that you think about those right up front and you get those engineered into the plans, I guess, from the very get-go, and you'll save yourself a bucket load of, time, effort, cost, and the like along the way.
Absolutely.
So now, any other challenges that we actually had along the way? And I say that looking at this beautiful fireplace that's sitting here behind us, mate. Tell us the little falsehood that is this fireplace.
So it was interesting because initially when it was engineered, when this construction was designed, was that we had all the pipes sort of flowing down this way, flowing all the gutters, all the way to the back of the building. But unfortunately, when we spoke with our roof plumbers, they said, look, that's not achievable. So both the plumbers and roof plumbers had challenges putting everything down there. So they had to actually carve out a space around here to house all these pipes.
So it's breaking through the actual ceiling cavity into the building space. Now you've tried to get a 3 metre high ceiling here,
yes.
Which meant that you've got a very small, depth of floor
right.
between ceiling and floor. So that's kind of broken through.
Yeah.
So you put the falsehood of this little false wall here and cleverly turned it into a fireplace.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. Nobody's ever going to know, folks. But it's really about being creative in the process, recognising those issues and challenges as you go.
That's right.
And I guess rolling with it, and I guess turning, a liability into an asset.
Absolutely. And obviously, we had that discussion, and it does fit within the aesthetics of the overall space. So it turned out to be a good idea in the end.
Very good. So we're not quite at lockup, very, very close. Pretty much everything's locked up, but there is no front door at the moment. How close are we from actually having the project finished?
In terms of the lead time, we're expecting probably about another couple of months or so.
Yep.
So that is assuming that there are no further challenges regarding any shortages or delays of materials. So fingers crossed.
Still shortages happening in the business.
Still some shortages happening. It's a lot better. It's a lot better than prior years. But obviously from our point of view, it's all about getting everything pre-ordered, as quickly as possible, so that give them enough time to actually deliver.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I know that in talking to Edo a little bit earlier, you guys did really cleverly. Knowing that the cost of materials and that sort of thing were going up, you pre-ordered a whole bunch of things right at the very, very start.
Absolutely.
Knowing, even though you didn't need them straight away, lock in the price, get them in the queue, because you know that there's delays and that sort of thing. So anyone doing any construction at the moment, folks, you want to be thinking about forward planning all of that stuff as much as you can. If you can do that, then I won't say that you're immune to the cost rises, but you're certainly going to cap, I guess, the impact of all of those. So very, very clever in doing that. Does mean a little bit of an impact from a cash flow perspective early on. So there's some holding cost elements to it, but it means that you're protecting, I guess, the downside from the other side. So overall, mate, I guess it's going to be a nice looking product at the end. So what is it? So 4-bedroom. Tell us a little bit about the product.
It is a side-by-side 4-bedroom on a 730 square meters of land, so about 31 squares each on each townhouse, or on one side, on each side, and it's got an ensuite downstairs and upstairs as well. So the finish will be mid to high, targeting to families around the area.
Yeah. So I noticed that you said squares. We're in Victoria here. Victoria is the only place on the planet other than America that is still using the imperial system. So everywhere else in the country uses square meters, mate. Do you have an equivalent square meter rate?
300 multiplied by 9.29.
Yeah. So my encouragement, folks, is start converting to the metric system. Eventually it'll catch on. But Barney Rubble is still in town somewhere. What about some parting words of wisdom for our audience? Anyone actually wanting to get into their first projects? Any ideas that you want to throw out there to say, if you're a beginner, how do they actually get involved?
Just look at the numbers very, very carefully. Do the feasibility right in the beginning. Talk to a lot of builders about the building costs. Just be mindful of the holding costs as well. And there are so many other costs that get involved. For example, the council asks us to either do a septic tank underneath of the building or pay $9,000 in lieu. So I asked our engineer, and they said, pay them any day. So,
You don't want a septic tank on site, mate. Don't do that. Yeah.
But having said that, we'll have to factor in a lot of different costs that may or may not think of. So do the feasibility right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a whole bunch more lessons to be learned, and we're going to hear all about those at an upcoming meetup where these guys are actually going to present this as a full real deal in our Melbourne-based meetups. But we run these meetups all the way around the country, so Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne and Adelaide, and live streamed all the way around the country. So if you guys want to turn up to one of our events, hear from, real deals just like this one, get the warts and all, the good, the bad and the ugly of a project, make sure you click on the links below And we look forward to seeing you at one of our upcoming meetups. Till then, bye for now.
Bye.